Hello, it's Matt, and I'm going to talk a little today about the right hand, in particular how to sort of choose the strings you want to hit, okay? And so what I'm going to do is stand up so that you can see my right hand really well, and my face not at all. Nothing against my face, just that's not really the focus of this video. So, as you probably know, strumming through all 6 strings all the time could get a little bit oppressive for the poor melody player. And so to lighten up the texture, there are like 2 situations where you don't want to hit everything. There's the thing where you're strumming a big chord, but maybe some of the notes are not in the chord, or you don't want all the notes to ring. For that, left hand muting is really, really handy. For example, if I were playing, I don't know, well, even like my G chord down here, I'm muting that, the 5th string there, right? And that's just done by taking the finger and leaning it over a little bit, so flattening it so that it just hits the adjacent string. You can do that as well for if I wanted to play, I don't know, maybe like a D chord, and if I didn't want that E on top, just kind of lean the finger over a little bit, and that'll mute the adjacent string. You can also, in other cases, you can, or at least I tend to use my thumb a bit. This guitar has an exceptionally thin neck, and it's pretty easy for me to, like, if I don't want to hear that, I can just, the thumb can kind of like just touch it. It doesn't have to be much, right? I'm never actually fretting with the thumb. I'm just kind of using, I might use it for, so that it mutes that. So that's kind of for when you're really bashing away but you just don't want every note to ring, right? So for lighter textures, there's a sort of it calls for a different approach, and I have a tendency. The first thing is that I don't anchor the pinky, but I do touch the top of the guitar with the pinky, so it floats. So if I'm playing like a jig, say, and I'm going, a texture like that I might use, my pinky is actually there. Let's see if I can get an angle where you can actually see it. The answer is no. You can kind of see it. So it's floating up and down, right? Oh, there we go. It's doing this. It's not doing this. I'm not, like, drilling it to the top and then not allowing it to move. It's just kind of, it's there to add a little bit of security for my hand. It's sort of, it opens out a little bit, so if I want to reach back, I kind of helps me remember where my hand was. Not everyone does that, but I do. So for a jig pattern, which is normally down, up, down, down, up, I might adapt that to single strings down. So what I'm doing there, the upstroke is really just hitting the top note of the 3. And the bottom, the last one, is often not strumming a whole chord either. So I'm really going like down, 3 notes down, 1 note up, 1 note down. And then when you start adding bass notes into it, you essentially hit a bass note once. Don't, not necessarily up. You can do that too. kind of you're just reaching back for that one note. You're not breaking the pattern. You're still going tuck 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 tuck, and you're not trying to do a big strum on that bass note. You're just opening your hand back and getting that one note. And I find by if you have when you only play, like, you only pick the bass note once, and you're still, doing this up at top, it really, like, separates out the voices. You all of a sudden have, like, one thing happening on top, and then another thing happening on the bottom, versus where you got everything kind of moving at once. So that's for I'll talk about a couple of exercises first, and then before I do that, I will talk about a reel, the same concept for a reel. What I'm basically doing is going, for a reel, I'm usually picking down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So a full reel, like a big, this kind of thing, right? But so what I do here is kind of an alternating down, up, down, up. However, it is not like a very precise, it's a little bit sloppy for me, which is okay by me. So if I play in a reel, that when I'm doing that, I'm not, it's, sometimes I'm hitting a couple more strings, like there. I was, maybe hitting a couple more on the upstroke, but it still gives you a lighter feel. And that, that can transition into a fuller strum. Or whatever, wherever you need it to go. But it's essentially the same concept where I've got this pattern, and then for the downbeat of that, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, is where you hit your bass note. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, I'm a little fast and loose as far as the precision of what specific notes I'm playing. So how to work on that? The first thing I might do is just practice, like, doing a thing where you play, we'll do it in 4, but 1. Okay, so I'm just playing, down, up on the top string. Sort of thing, where you just practice, you're opening your hand back to get, and then returning to the other string. You could do it the other way too. That's harder. I need to work on that. You could also do, you could do a thing where you alternate going up, those kind of picking patterns will do wonders for your right hand. That's actually, that pattern is the Villalobos first etude. which I can't do anymore. They and then there's for jigs you would apply the same idea. Maybe where you start out on one string, doing the pattern, and then open your hand back to get to reach whatever other note you're going for. Again, with any kind of practice like that, it is a metronome is always a really good thing to just sort of keep you honest. Obviously, I wasn't using one just now, but that if you were really sitting down to work on that, I would recommend doing it with a metronome, very slowly. That's the sort of thing where when you work on it, you're striving for the most accuracy that you can muster, and then in the course of actually like playing a session or playing a tune or something, it maybe is okay if it isn't like razor sharp precise, but that's kind of how I approach that situation. I hope that some of that might be helpful, and feel free to ask me any questions you may have. Thank you to Shannon for hosting these videos, and have a great